CD Projekt RED stock went down significantly after the release of the highly anticipated Cyberpunk 2077 game. Cyberpunk 2077 is getting good reviews for its version on PC and Google Stadia. It also runs well on the new generation of consoles. The game, however, has bugs, but it is not possible to release such a big game without bugs. You cannot check everything before the release. But the biggest problem with Cyberpunk 2077 is its performance on the old generation of consoles, namely Xbox One and PlayStation 4. The game is not well optimized to run smoothly on these old consoles. PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were released in 2013, which means that some consoles owned by gamers are already 7-year old. But it does not reduce the fault of the CD Projekt company, because they released Cyberpunk 2077 without the game being optimized for these two consoles. As the effect of all these problems, many investors have re-evaluated their view of the company and the share price of CD Projekt stock. Today, let's think together which companies benefit from the failure of the release of Cyberpunk 2077 by CD Projekt RED and from the failure of Cyberpunk 2077 on old-gen consoles. I was shocked to hear that people upgrade their computers for more than £1,000 to run the Cyberpunk 2077 game to play it on the best possible quality. The good news is that soon it won't be necessary and it will be much cheaper to play games in excellent video quality. Also, no downloads, no installation of the game, no installation of patches and problems with graphic card drivers. It is another revolution similar to what Netflix has made to the video consumption industry. Video streaming reduced costs for users and allowed more people to enjoy high-quality content. I think that a similar revolution is coming to the video game industry, and Cyberpunk 2077 plays a significant role in this revolution. Let's look together at some names which might benefit from this revolution, as the right research might provide us with valuable insights and investment ideas. Let's talk about the future of gaming. And if you enjoy my insights, which I share with you, smash this like button for the YouTube algorithm. This button looks much better when it is blue, not gray. Destroy it. The first result is that because of the problems with playing this game smoothly on the old-gen consoles, many gamers will want to update their consoles to the new generation of consoles, PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Cyberpunk 2077 experience on new generations of consoles is much better than what we can experience on old machines. Many rational gamers are aware that their old console might not have enough computing power to run smoothly such a demanding game, and it is sensible to upgrade their gaming equipment every 5 to 6 years. CD Projekt played fair with allowing the copy of Cyberpunk 2077 bought for old consoles PlayStation 4 and Xbox One to be also used on the next generation of these consoles. We can expect the upgrade cycle of consoles to be accelerated thanks to this approach of Polish video game studio. That will generate more revenue for Sony and Microsoft. Many gamers buy games through game stores of Sony and Microsoft, which logs them to use still the same consoles. These two companies have a different strategy for the future. Microsoft's goal is not to beat Sony in terms of quantity of consoles sold. Microsoft sees much bigger players as their competitors. Amazon and Google are the main competitors for Microsoft, and soon you will find out why. Microsoft has a vision of Xbox as a gaming platform that spans across devices. It is a combination of local hardware and Azure cloud services, with physical Xbox consoles being just one way of access for an Xbox experience, because it can equally run at home on a laptop, a tablet, or another smart device. As you know, Microsoft is the company standing behind Windows, which is still the leading operating system on PCs, and that fact, together with developed cloud infrastructure, allows them not to be so focused on just selling consoles. Because of that, I am more optimistic about Microsoft than Sony in this gaming war. CD Projekt, with its failure of the release of Cyberpunk 2077, accelerated the game streaming revolution. For me, it was apparent. I own a MacBook computer and I was not interested in getting a gaming PC or a console just to play Cyberpunk 2077. I played on the second day after the release and my experience was outstanding. No crashes and minor bugs only. How is it possible, you ask? I bought Cyberpunk 2077 on Google Stadia and it ran perfectly. I didn't notice any major bugs or crashes. For me, it is the perfect solution. I do not have to spend a few £100 for buying a console or £1,000 for a gaming PC to experience the best possible experience while playing Cyberpunk 2077. My friends have been asking me about what I use for playing, and many of them decided to give Google Stadia a try too. It all means that gaming will be much cheaper and accessible for more people, as their only cost is buying a game and a subscription for a better quality stream if you need it. Microsoft, with its Xbox Game Pass, allows playing through any of the more than 100 games that are included in the Xbox Game Pass subscription. Right now, xCloud only lets you stream compatible Xbox games to an Android device, meaning that you can essentially play Xbox games wherever you take your Android phone and you have a Wi-Fi or cellular connection. I can see Microsoft and Google as the major players in terms of game streaming. Microsoft might be kind of the Netflix equivalent of video streaming. It is because they own game development studios and they can allow for playing all games from these studios for a monthly fee. In business, you have to disrupt its product sometimes, or others will disrupt it instead of you. I think that Microsoft might be in a better position here than Sony, and it is all thanks to their Azure cloud platform and their ambitions in cloud streaming. Microsoft, Google and Amazon have realized that cloud streaming will become a dominant force in the gaming industry soon. Microsoft's xCloud platform has ambitions to be like Netflix of games. Among the 13 best-selling Xbox One video games, there are 3 games published by Microsoft. Bethesda Softworks has been acquired by Microsoft this year, which increases their games to 4. Apart from Sony and Microsoft, the top-selling console games include just 4 companies: Rockstar Games, Activision, Electronic Arts, and CD Projekt. If I were to guess, I think that Microsoft might be interested in acquiring a CD Projekt RED studio. As a shareholder of CD Projekt, I am not a fan of this solution, and I hope it will not happen. Of course, the company would have to give a premium for the acquisition, but in some way it would kill the spirit of CD Projekt RED, and I expect it would be not so good for shareholders in the long term. There is also a chance for a hostile takeover, taking into account that the founders of CD Projekt do not own a big share of the company. It is only around 30%. But I think that acquisition by Microsoft is more probable than hostile takeover. Out of 13 the best-selling PlayStation 4 video games, there are only 6 which are not published by Sony. One of them being The Witcher, the production of the CD Projekt. Sony created its ecosystem around its consoles and its games. Does it resemble you, Disney, in some way? Let me know in the comment what you think about the future of Sony. Sony has a bigger problem than Microsoft because they do not have cloud infrastructure to support their gaming ambitions. Their advantage is in their consoles being widely used. I do not know yet what their plan for the future is. I guess they are aware of the coming revolution. They might take a similar strategy as Disney in video streaming, so they will wake up later and still be a big player in this industry thanks to their broad portfolio of games. Currently, it looks like Cyberpunk 2077 accelerated adoption of Google Stadia platform. Many people are not happy with the quality on their old consoles but still want to play it now instead of waiting for patches being released. Google's approach is different from what Microsoft does. They own infrastructure, and their model resembles YouTube more. So Google Stadia is the aggregator. They will provide a platform for gaming companies to release their games for game streaming. Google will be responsible for managing the platform and streaming of games. I think Google Stadia is a perfect solution for non-regular gamers like me, who just want to play the best games without the need of owning gaming devices. The last time I played a video game was a few years ago, but after watching many videos about Cyberpunk 2077, I also decided to play this game. I received a lot of questions about Google Stadia when I have shared my experience from playing Cyberpunk 2077. Many people also share similar satisfaction in terms of using this platform. Google Stadia remains the most economically viable way for most people to game. You just have to pay for the game, which is the same price as buying the game on consoles. However, with Google Stadia, you just need your smartphone, tablet, or any other kind of screen. You don't need to pay huge sums extra to play. Its affordability and accessibility is perhaps the best feature of Google Stadia, as it lets so many more people play games. And thanks to Stadia, people who don't own a console or PC can still enjoy the experience. TechRadar reporter has made a test of how easy and quick it is to start playing Cyberpunk 2077 on a smartphone. He needed 46 seconds to play. It is much quicker than waiting for downloads of massive patches and installation processes. If it takes you an extra minute to buy Cyberpunk 2077 through Stadia's store page, it takes a total of 2 minutes to purchase and start the game. It is quite a bit less time than the hours needed on other platforms. Thanks to Cyberpunk 2077's rocky launch, Google Stadia has been given a mighty opportunity to shine. Of course, this isn't the first big game to come to Google Stadia, but it is the first time when a game on this platform runs much better than on the other platforms. Nvidia is providing a similar service. Their service is called GeForce Now, and it also allows playing Cyberpunk 2077. But the problem with this platform is that because of enormous interest, gamers have to book the time when they want to play. My friend told me that he had the choice of a time slot which is 17 hours in advance. It is not what a gamers expect, to plan exactly when they want to play. It is like planning when you want to watch something on YouTube. Is that something you do? I don't. What Nvidia provides so far is not the best experience, and Google Stadia seems to be prepared much more for the influx of game streamers who want to play Cyberpunk 2077. The advantage of Nvidia's streaming service is that it is more popular. According to estimates, GeForce Now has more than 4 million users. Lack of problems with Google Stadia might be because it is not so popular yet. But for now, it seems like the best streaming gaming experience on the market is provided by Google Stadia. With Google Stadia, I did not have to wait at all. I just opened the browser on my MacBook computer from 2016 and it ran smoothly without problems at all. As a confirmation of my thesis, it is the latest news from Ubisoft Gaming Studio. Ubisoft announced Monday that its game subscription service, Ubisoft Plus, is adding support for Google Stadia, meaning any subscriber can sign up for a free Stadia account and stream Ubisoft games from the cloud on supported devices. Google Stadia offers a free tier and paid Stadia Pro. You can just use the free tier to stream Ubisoft games. Stadia Pro does provide 4K streaming, while the free tier caps it at 1080p resolution. With Stadia, you won't need a powerful PC to play some of the more recent and technically demanding Ubisoft games. Overall, as you can see, gaming is just getting cheaper and more accessible. You will be spending money on the games, but not on the expensive devices or gaming computer, which you use for only a few hours. It all means less waste as well. But as you probably noticed, it is not good news for producers of devices and graphic processors. So what about the losers from this coming revolution of gaming? Do you know what a commoditized industry is? It is the industry where there is a lack of distinguishing features. It all leads to the race to the bottom. Many people are excited about Nvidia or AMD graphic processors. I am not so bullish about it. Let's think about the future of gaming. If my thesis about the transition to the game streaming happens, it is what is happening with the ride-sharing and autonomic vehicles industry. As the whole global population, we will still need new cars, but much less than before. Streaming works like ride-sharing, but in this case, it is gaming device sharing. A dozen of users can use one high-spec PC. It means that instead of 10 graphic processors being sold to gamers, maybe just one can be bought by Google or Microsoft. Instead of every person owning an expensive gaming PC, Google owns the infrastructure and allows gamers to use it. They will charge you a $10 monthly fee if you want to play the game in ultra quality settings. It will be much cheaper for the end user. Of course, it does not mean that Nvidia and AMD will not do well in the future. Here I am talking only about selling graphic processors for usage in games. The demand will reduce. You can be, however, optimistic about these companies for other reasons, like graphic cards used for cryptocurrency mining or processing data collected by autonomous vehicles. But that is not the topic of today's video. I'm not a regular gamer, so please share your own experience and thoughts about the future of gaming and your thoughts about the way we will play games. Which company will benefit the most from the Cyberpunk 2077 problems? Do you see this release as the trigger for this game streaming revolution to accelerate? I think that what we have in terms of video streaming is a fair comparison of what we can expect. There is the leader, Netflix, but other players are not staying still. Disney is quickly catching up. YouTube generates a lot of revenue from a different business model, and there are also smaller players on this market. And as many of you use YouTube, Netflix and Disney, similarly there will be people who will use Google Stadia for some games and Microsoft iCloud for other games. As a user, I am happy that gaming is becoming more accessible and less troublesome. It allows us to not think about installation of the game, problems with graphic card drivers, updating patches. Game streaming solves all these drawbacks. Subscribe not to miss my analysis of the future of CD Projekt RED and my prognosis of sales numbers and what will happen with CD Projekt stock in the long term. I've been active in terms of my transactions on the stock market recently. I inform my Patreons about any transactions I make, so if you want to learn from me, you might be interested in joining my investing community. My overall portfolio of stocks of over $400,000 grew over 62% this year. But my European Silicon Valley portfolio, which focuses on technology stocks from Poland, delivered gains of 101% so far. Thanks to the right selection of stocks, I've been beating the stock market indices regularly. You will get exclusive access to members-only content. You will learn via our private group, take part in our regular members-only live Q&A webinars, and get access to a library of past webinars. You will know all companies from my entire portfolio of more than $400,000, and also you will be notified straight away when I buy or sell any stock. Thanks to my approach, you can spend a minimal amount of time on investing, and your future self will thank you for this investment. The link is below and in the video description. You are awesome that you watched this video till the end. Do you plan to buy shares of CD Projekt? Are you going to play Cyberpunk 2077? Let me know, I reply to every comment. Also remember not to listen to bloggers and vloggers. Always do your research and have conviction why you buy shares of the specific company. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and click the bell to receive a notification about a new video being published. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy investing!